everyone, this is Brenda from Mainly Hybrid Homesteading. Welcome back. Thought I'd give you a garden tour. Today is July 24th. It's been a while. We're still fighting to keep our squash plants alive, but they are alive, and we do have a couple small zucchinis growing. So let's get started. We'll show you what's growing and what's been struggling. Okay, so here are the pumpkin plants. Still finding some squash bugs. The cucumber beetles, you might find an occasional one. I did find another vine borer moth today that I took care of. And we're talking to a close friend of ours who recommended that we cut away some of the diseased leaves. And actually, I think the plants look a lot better now. They need to get more air down there, especially with all the rain we've had. It just promotes disease if the plants stay wet all the time. So now we're entering into kind of a dry spell. We're expecting a little bit of rain in the morning, but the rest of the week looks sunny, which we're welcoming the sun for sure, but now we got to keep up with the watering. So I had planted some arugula, and it's growing, but it's struggling. And then back here, I planted some more beets, so those are coming up. Our parsley is coming up as well. It looks a little anemic, I guess. I feel like it should be a dark green. Thyme never came up. I planted at least a couple times. So I'm probably going to fill this empty spot with something in the near future. And our chamomile is coming along nicely, as well as the lemon balm that is growing well. And I haven't identified this. I'm not sure if it's my echinacea or if it's just a bunch of weeds in there, but I'm leaving it alone for now. I think I was trying to grow some feverfew in this area, but it didn't come up, so I just planted another round of cucumbers and filled in this empty spot with some radishes and lettuce. So everything that I just planted was only 3 days ago, so it's not coming up yet. And this is supposed to be where I'm growing sage. I just planted seeds for the 4th time. This cabbage was not intentional, but I'm letting it grow. There's a Japanese beetle right in the middle there, having his lunch. So here is our zucchini patch. So you can see it's been thinned out quite a bit. I removed a good amount of leaves, and some of them could also be removed, but I don't want to shock the plants too much by removing too many of the leaves. But we do have a zucchini growing here, and then another little one back there. Also had a couple that were rotting at the stem, but the squash bugs, there was a couple squash bugs at the base of the plant, which was not good for those zucchinis trying to grow. So these are coming along. Our peas are starting to look a little dry, and I really need to get in here and harvest some of them, but we're still getting some flowers. So I'm gonna harvest what I can today, and everything's gonna get a good watering. So, it looks like I might have missed some squash bug eggs right here. what those, ooh, those are like little, ooh, I think those have already hatched. Ooh, I'm gonna take care of those. Yeah, I have seen quite a few squash bug eggs today that I took care of. I missed those, and it looks like a little cluster of them may have just hatched. Overall, I'm not seeing any signs at the base of the plants that the vine borers have come along. But what the white stuff you're seeing is the diatomaceous earth that I had dusted to avoid any bugs. So over here, our green peppers are coming along. These 4 plants here in the front were just like 3 inches tall when I bought them. So those are doing well. And this one back here, had some flowers on it, and the deer had come along and eaten like the top half of the plant. But you can see that it is coming back, and there is a flower there. Planted some cucumbers down here, waiting for those to come up. And our catnip is flowering, and that's doing very well this year. We have some of our yellow string beans, and I knew they were flowering, but I didn't realize I actually had some string beans. So I think we just have a handful here, but these will be good little snack. My pole beans have been disappointing so far. They also look like they're missing some kind of nutrition. They're kind of yellow. They should be nice and green. And these have also been like replanted, I want to say at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. So on the back side here, I did plant another round of peas so they can go up along the trellis. At this time last year, I was harvesting tons of string beans and canning quart jars of them. So we're definitely behind schedule as far as that goes, but still hoping to have enough harvest to put away and can. So here our Swiss chard it's not dead, but it's a little sparse, and the spinach right next to it is not really doing anything. The lettuce doesn't look bad at all. I do need to cut that back. The pole beans on this side are doing a little bit better. You have one here that's starting to climb, and I think these are actually going to be green beans, but this was also a struggle to get this patch of beans going, but doing well now. And here our tomatoes are doing very well. We do have one small tomato over here. I still have everything kind of covered. Oh yeah, back here we have a little tomato. Because we still don't have our fence up around the garden. I do have some basil growing along the edges of the tomato patch, and that is growing. I also planted some more string beans along the tomatoes here, and those are starting to grow. The watermelon patch never made it, so I planted some turnip seeds 3 days ago. So those only take about 40 days, so a lot of these hopefully will be harvested before we're worrying about frost. And then I do have some green onions here, and those are starting to pick up. Of course, they not really crazy about the heat, but they are looking better now. And this is going to be my comfrey patch. I haven't given up on it yet. I do have some seedlings started in the house which are doing well. Which reminds me, I gotta water them tonight. So we have our cucumbers here. They have had some issues with the cucumber beetles, And do have a cucumber plant back here that got decimated by something, but I not seeing any evidence of whatever ate it took off. They're not here anymore. So we got plenty of flowers. I lifted the netting a little bit so the bees can get in here and do some pollinating. See, we have a cucumber beetle right there in the middle of the flower. Carrots are doing very well. Also have quite a few beets here. These are doing well also. And you can see here, I have a lot of carrots in the aisle. I think a lot of the seeds got washed down with all the rain we had in June, but letting them grow. And then I have more carrots back here, also looking healthy. My wild lettuce is finally coming up. I believe they had told me that it would be 30 days for them to actually start germinating and coming up, and that's pretty much how long it took. I had thought I wasn't going to get any, but the goal was to at least get it established this year, and it'll come back next year, hopefully. Potatoes are doing well. We have one that's flowering here, and these are also looking good. Although at the base of one of these plants there was a nice little chipmunk hole or something, so I don't know if they were eating the potatoes down there. And I did plant some turnips also, like in the middle of my potato patch. More potatoes back there. So, haven't introduced you guys to Fred yet. I had asked him for a scarecrow. I just wanted like a cross frame, and I was going to put some old clothes on it or something, and this is what he came up with. And I hadn't told him what I thought I was going to name him, and he decided on Fred, and that's exactly what I was going to name him. It's just funny how when you've been married this long, you kind of think the same way. So anyway, there's Fred. I don't think he's doing too much to scare the deer, but who knows? Maybe he is. I think the dog is doing more in that department. So over here was supposed to be my agrimony. So I did actually plant more zucchini here, and just staggering some crops. Hopefully the squash bugs and all those bugs eating my squash now will have moved on by then. And then trying some bok choy. I think it said it was only like 50 days to harvest, so that'll be perfect. And I'm sure in the cabbage family they love the cooler weather, so it'll be a good fall crop. And I also planted some Swiss chard back here and some spinach. So hopefully we'll get some harvest out of that. Planted some more green beans back here where I had my mullein. The two plants I had put in here didn't make it, and the seeds that I planted didn't grow. So making use of all the space that I do have. And then I also planted some beets. So sweet potatoes are looking good. Basically just a couple sweet potatoes that were sprouting that we just threw in the ground. So we'll see if it comes to anything, but the plants look really healthy. Asparagus is still getting established, and I did add some radishes back there. The spaghetti squash is looking good. Interestingly, I didn't see any squash bugs in this patch. The only bugs I saw in here was today was Japanese beetles, but they're looking good, flowering. And here, our Mizuna is not doing as well this year. I had it in a raised bed last year, or I don't know if it's that or if it's just the weather, but I did plant some more seeds, and Back there I also planted some radish and lettuce. Turnips are looking good. I haven't had a chance to harvest any of the greens, but those should be ready to harvest in a week or so. Last year the plants looked great, but I didn't actually get the turnips. It was just like a slim root. Here we have our dill, looking a little dry at the bottom, but it is growing. Broccoli's looking good. We also had a couple that decided to grow in the aisle, so letting those grow. And the butternut squash is doing okay. Color could be a little bit better, but haven't had any bugs on these. But I think I was reading that the bugs that normally attack squash plants don't really care for the butternut plants. So that's how things are going now. Just staying vigilant, trying to keep our squash bugs pest free. And yeah, it takes work, it takes time. I just worked 3 days in a row, so I wasn't able to do anything during that time, but everything is still looking good. Just keeping at it, keeping those bugs out of the garden. Let us know how your garden's doing. I hope you're growing one. Now's the time to learn. If you've never grown a garden, start growing in pots. It's time to learn. So, and this is why we have backups in our pantry, you know, canned veggies and stuff from the store, because you're never guaranteed a harvest. You never know what the weather's going to be like, what the conditions are going to be. I know a lot of places in the country are in drought conditions right now, like serious drought. So, and then we had rain the month of June, so it was a very slow start for us, and even our spring was very chilly. We had a lot of nights that were down into the 30s, so you really couldn't put plants out and until we were into June. So thanks for joining me today. Please like and share this video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. We'll see you next time. Bye.